So I am thrilled to see the three of you again. It's been about 7 years since we had the opportunity to have you here in Irving performing for us, and looking back at the story that we did on About Town and then some of the other video that's on your website. I mean, chill bumps, seriously. The Texas Tenors are back, folks. So let me start with the beginning. The three of you guys have been friends for a long time. JC, it was your idea to actually start the group. Can we start there?
I can't remember that far back.
Okay,
you guys
I understand.
Yeah, you know, America's Got Talent was a big show. I think my wife and I started watching it in 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. And, you know, Marcus and I had been friends for years, and John and I had been friends, and we did construction together. And it was just kind of a fun idea that we had to, you know, get together and sing a few songs. Matter of fact, my wife's a state director. She held her pageant here at the Miss Texas pageant here, and I performed once. But we always had this idea to get a group together and get on the show, and that's what we did. We just sent a tape in.
But you had the magic combination, truly, because you guys are all talented in your individual ways, but your voices together are so beautiful. So more background-wise, Marcus, I'm going to come to you now. Give us a little bit of background, because in addition to the Texas Tenors, you've also done Broadway. You've also, you know, done other kinds of work. So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I think that we definitely would not be this group if it weren't for our three very, very unique personalities and backgrounds, and you know, a lot of groups they swap people in and out, I think, you know, and they're cast by producers or cast by a music label. But we were three friends that created this group from nothing and living the American dream. And before that, you know, we were all kind of struggling a little bit and didn't know exactly what we were going to do with our lives. And it came at the exact right time, and America's Got Talent just catapulted us in front of America, in front of the world, and we just took off from there, and it's been a nonstop whirlwind. And you know, it's funny because 10 years we've been touring, and then all of a sudden we stopped touring this last March. Our last show was in Canada, and it was surprising and crazy, and we've never had a break. So taking 6 months off and then finally now being back here, Irving, 3 concerts in 1 weekend, it is the perfect way to start our tour again.
Oh, well, I love hearing you say that. I love hearing you say that because I'm slightly biased. Irving has a huge place in my heart and always will. And you guys made such an impact when you were here, you know, before 7 years ago. I fully expect the same thing to happen, you know, the same kind of magic. So John, let me go to you. You guys do America's Got Talent 10 years ago, and you didn't win, but you exploded anyway. What in the world?
Well, the exposure you get from being on that show for, I don't know how many weeks we were on there, 9 weeks or something.
Yeah,
over a period of time of months, and it was at that time it was seen in what, 65 countries around the world, and it was maybe the biggest show on TV at that time.
Highest rated season for the show.
So you can't buy that kind of exposure, and so, but what can you do with it? We made, you know, we were lucky and we made some good moves and took advantage of it, and we knew we had to get out there and work our tails off to make something happen, because people forget about you pretty quickly if you don't take advantage. So yeah, we've just been pounding away at it.
I think it definitely an advantage is that we've all been in the business for a long time, and we brought those backgrounds with us. We knew that we had to hit the ground running. We knew we couldn't wait for things to happen. We had to make things happen. Yeah. And that's why we took that opportunity and we ran with it and created this.
So in my creeping on you guys on your website, one of the things that really, I don't know, it just made me smile. You wrote a children's book. Where in the world did Ruckus on the Ranch? Is that what it's called? Where'd that come from?
Look at where we're at. I mean, come on.
Ruckus in the courtyard right now.
What else would we write, right?
And it was a song that you based on the book, or a book that you based on the song? Give me some background.
It's actually evolved since you saw what you saw. Because Ruckus on the Ranch was our first book. You know what? Mm-hmm. How did that come about?
Well,
can't remember.
We wrote the book first and then set it to music, and it's become so popular now that it's actually going to be made into a cartoon.
And we just found that out. So. That was,
Ooh,
yeah, it was
exclusive
exciting.
on About Town. Let me
Heard it
just
here
say, I
first.
love
That's what we are,
that.
cartoon characters.
Yeah, I've always been told that I have the expressions of a Muppet, so it's a perfect transition.
Perfect
I guess.
target.
Marcus, it'll keep us young, okay?
Wow.
Because so do I. Yeah, same thing.
And it was so much fun. We wrote a second one last year, and but we haven't had a chance to get it out much because we had to stop touring.
Yeah, so it's the first year that it's been available at our concerts and on our website. It's called Moons on Fire, and John wrote the song with a member of our band, Larry Hansen, and it's a
It's a lot of the same characters. As, it's just more adventures on the ranch.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. So when I think about you guys, I mean, a children's book doesn't immediately come to mind, but I do love it, and I'll tell you why later. But I think about how you're all classically trained, but you've got just this very broad range of music that you do in your shows. Can you talk a little bit about what that style is for the Texas Tenors?
Well, it's funny because our first album was country roots, classical sound, and I think we all have grown up in similar eras. Maybe similar era.
We're not talking
Yes,
about
my
that
young
part right
sons.
So my dad was telling me a lot of his favorite songs. Just kidding. No. But Marcus and I grew up in the 80s, and I grew up on a farm, so listen to country music. My dad likes the old style country western, and so I grew up with that, Hank Williams, and even before George Strait and Garth Brooks and all that stuff. So the country thing was kind of a natural deal. But obviously in college, when we studied classically, you listen to the three tenors and all the trained musicians. So it was a broad range. And when Marcus and I met, Marcus, he knew every pop song there was and Broadway song. And I found that about John as well. He loves Elton John.
Except I grew
Billy
up with Gene Autry and Sons of the Pine. No.
I'll say, when he retired in 1985,
Caruso.
he decided, wow, let's give a tenor
Sorry
group a
about that.
shot.
Names we all recognize, John. At least all the adults in the room. Right?
The adults in the room know what we're talking about.
So you bring the contemporary, a la the contemporary tenor, and the romantic tenor. What do you want to tell us about that?
I'm not sure exactly what that means.
It's from his wife.
Okay, there you go.
Maybe.
I don't see it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I tell you what.
Must be an inside joke. We don't.
We're not in on it.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it alone. But I'll tell you, it works for the ladies. So we don't mind. We don't mind about that at all. One of the things that I also love is that because of my own background, I have a great love for the classical canon. But I'm a rock and roll girl. Mm-hmm. And when I first discovered that O Sole Mio was It's Now or Never, I thought, okay, I can get into this whole classical music thing.
Pretty cool, yeah.
You guys bring that kind of energy to your show. Even people who don't necessarily love the classics or know the classics respond to your music. Why do you think that is?
I think, first of all, with the classical music, we try to pick things that, maybe are recognizable. Maybe they've heard it, a snippet in a commercial, a cartoon, whatever. But, great music is just that, great music. It transcends. It doesn't matter what genre it is. It will speak to people. If you give it everything you've got and you give a real emotional performance, you're going to get some kind of a visceral response. And I think that's what happens. If we don't like it, we don't sing it. So we want to love what we sing, and so we pour ourselves into it.
I think we make the music accessible for anyone, any genre. And we take a country song and give it a classical treatment, with the beautiful orchestration, and singing with an orchestra like the Irving Symphony, and of course Hector Guzman, which is he's our favorite. We love Hector.
We might kidnap him and take him with us.
Yeah.
You'd have to take me too. We're not giving up Hector. I just want you to know that.
And happy birthday to his mom. Happy birthday to his mom. But it's we think we make it accessible for anyone to love any style of music, and we've heard that so many times from folks that send us emails and go through our social media, and they're just, oh, I never thought I'd like that, or I never thought I'd appreciate that. Now I went to my first opera because of you guys, or now I went to my first,
Oh, we have a group of ladies who are fans that live in Houston, and they've become so smitten with some of the opera arias. This group of 4 or 5 ladies has started going to the Houston Grand Opera now and enjoying it and having that ladies' night out. And they say they wouldn't be doing that if it weren't for the exposure that we gave them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
There's no higher compliment.
It's just fun to see people stretch in different ways, and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's great. So 2 more questions. Tonight is going to be a special experience for the audience who comes because they're going to get a look behind the scenes. What's going to be different about this concert than what the folks will see, for example, tomorrow in your normal concerts?
Oh, well, I think there'll be some new music. And even if they had heard our song before, and maybe it was 2 or 3 years ago, we've changed things since then. And we always have, like you say in our show, it's like ups and downs, and we'll do a ballad, and then we'll do something fun and upbeat and try to connect with them. And Marcus usually goes out there and connects, but right now he probably won't do that, but they'll hear a new song from Marcus most likely. They'll probably hear a new aria from John, and from me, I don't know, maybe I'll hide in back and let them sing 2 more songs.
He'll have a new attitude.
Okay.
I think what sets the show tonight apart from tomorrow's shows is that we're just going to be wearing different clothes, really.
So this dress rehearsal.
No, it's a rehearsal. It's a rehearsal. It's a rehearsal. So it'll be stop and start. They're going to really see the behind-the-scenes kind of action,
Because we haven't seen Hector yet. We won't see him till
if something
tonight.
doesn't go well, we're going to have to stop and go back, and that's not.
If Hector hasn't prepared things well, then.
Yeah, if Hector, to spend all that time with his mom's birthday, just slacking off.
A lot of people like that too, because in a set show, they don't get the stop and go, and we'll be fixing stuff. I think that's kind of interesting to do.
In between, we'll be able to maybe do a little bit of question and answer kind of thing when we're waiting for folks to get ready.
It definitely will be a more relaxed environment.
Yeah, but I think that folks will enjoy that intimacy.
Oh yeah,
because they feel like they know you.
Pull the curtain back a little bit and see what goes on.
Yeah,
the day before.
I love that.
But speaking of new, you mentioned you're a rock and roll girl, and we have a new album coming out soon, but there might be some rock and roll on there.
Oh,
so you have to
all righty.
Tune into that.
Bring
And we're
it.
going to do some rock and roll tonight, right?
Yeah, we're
doing
some-
rock and roll.
We're doing a little bit.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
Since she requested it, let's do it.
You just made me so happy. What can I say? All right, final question. You guys, this is year 10, and no one could have anticipated a year 10 like this. To have all of a sudden the stakes pulled up everywhere. How have you spent the time, and what are you most looking forward to when you come back? And I want each of you to answer that, so I'm going to start with you, JC.
Start with me?
Yeah.
Well, my answer is probably going to be different than theirs because they made very productive time. But
You're productive.
I have 3 children at home, and as when we slowed down, a lot of things changed. I had a lot more time at home, and I used to really like cars and trucks, and I had a few. So I spent time working on some of them and getting them ready to sell. I sold a few during this last 6 months, which is good. It felt good to declutter and get rid of a few things. And I have an old 66 Chevy truck that I bought when I was 15. I've had it 35 years. And my son helped me a little bit on that, fixing up. So we almost got that ready to go. So that's one blessing. I'm able to work on my old trucks with my sons. And as far as musically, I didn't do a lot of that, but besides working on our album with these guys.
All right, so because I was about to say, what's not productive
besides
about
that.
fixing a bunch of cars and selling them? But okay, your definition
No, it is productive. It is.
Now, don't let him fool you. Now, it wasn't an episode of Hoarders or anything. Like it wasn't decluttering like that.
No,
It was
no,
just
no.
a few cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
He works really hard on those cars, though, and they're beautiful. Like his truck that you're finishing right now.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I just don't understand why he buys these old cars when he can buy a new one. I don't get it.
What is that? Yeah, exactly. No, you should put.
But the truck though, you had this truck in high school.
I had it in high
It's been
school.
sitting in a
I
field.
bought it when I was
right?
15 years old for $1,500. My
And then-
dad went with me. I got a loan from the bank, and over the last 10 years, I did a bunch of work to it. I changed the engine, I changed the rear end. But then when we started touring, there was no time really, so it just kind of sat in my barn, and it kind of, things set for a while. They just kind of go downhill, and so I opened the barn door up, and I looked at it. I'm like, let's go.
All right, COVID, I got something for you.
And
That's
it's almost done.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
It's
about
almost
you
done.
Bravo.
get to
Yeah.
drive it for the first time and like
Have you paid off the loan yet?
I did.
wow, $10 a year, man.
Yeah,
It's like
that's a great.
$10 a month is
great
takes a
way to
long
make
time
that
to
work. All right, what about you, Marcus?
50% interest.
How have you spent this downtime?
Like I said before, we toured solid for 10 years, and when you're shocked into a break like this, you don't quite know what to do with yourselves, because we spend so much time together. We're like brothers, and then all of a sudden I'm not seeing these guys for months, and it was a time to work on music. We were working on our Texas Tenors record, our new one that's coming out in November, but I also worked on a solo album called Brand New Life, and it just today, actually, in the Billboard magazine today, it debuted at number 14 on the pop albums chart.
That's great.
It's crazy. Number 14.
Wow.
Yeah, and number 6 on the new artist albums chart, which is pretty cool. And it has a lot of really cool songs, and it was very therapeutic almost to going back through my life and singing music that I love and brand new songs like Brand New Life originals. And I found out today it's going to have a pretty decent radio promotion, so if people want to call in their country radio station and request Brand New Life, please do, starting tomorrow. Tomorrow as in September 26th, just in case this is shown a while from now. But yeah, we've been productive.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
That's really
It's pretty
wonderful.
exciting. I was surprised. But you know, we have such a huge support system. Our fan club is just incredible, and they've really supported the record and streaming and Spotify and all that. So.
And you know, and that's how you make the magic happen. You know, you start with those people that already love you, and just let it blossom from there. I'm going to give you the last word, John.
Pretty much slept. No, honestly, I probably was busier in the last 6 months than I've ever been. Maybe just circumstances, and but you know, part of it was our album we're working on. Wrote some music. Then I also worked on a personal album of classical arias, operatic arias. And then and a positive side for me with COVID is my dad was ill, and I was able to go help take care of him and keep him out of an institution with this thing going on. That was really a beautiful thing to get to spend the last 6 months with him. So, yeah, so it's been a real blessing actually that way. Not that COVID's a blessing, but to have that time, and because we, like Marcus said, we really haven't had more than, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks off at any given time. So, yeah.
Well, it sounds like you all found ways to make lemonade out of some pretty awful lemons, and that's wonderful. I interviewed someone not too long ago who said to me that some of the best music and the best art that we're ever going to see in our lifetimes will come out of this period. And I'm sure that's going to be the case with you guys. So thanks for spending some time with me today.
Thanks for having us.